So at some point we saw the police also pelting stones, trying to defend themselves with some of these shields that they have. The Solomon Mahlangu House at this point, many of the windows to this house have now been destroyed, and at this stage students are meeting inside Solomon Mahlangu House, and the media is not being allowed inside that meeting. That meeting now will decide what the way forward is for students. You must recall, after they marched from the university's campus, they did indicate they were going to meet here at Solomon Mahlangu House to chart a way forward. When they came here, they were met by police who were guarding Solomon Mahlangu House. You must remember that's the exact same reason why we saw that violence broke out yesterday, where the police refused that the students come to Solomon Mahlangu House. Absolute scenes of violence, unprecedented scenes of violence that we've seen here at Wits University. Though this protest has been going on since last year, what we have seen at this point, the scenes right here behind me, the absolute destruction. Majority of the windows to the entrance of Solomon Mahlangu House have been absolutely destroyed, and certainly would want to hear from the university as well about what the way forward is, because students say they will continue with their protest action. They're going to meet now, and once those student leaders emerge from there, they will give us an indication of what the way forward is, what mandate they have been given from students at the moment. If I could ask our camera person, Zamambalo, to just continue moving towards that direction. The entire entrance leading into Solomon Mahlangu House, absolute destruction at this point. The windows there you see, and the doors heading into Solomon Mahlangu House, absolutely destroyed. The stones and the rocks that you're seeing here at the moment, these are the stones that were being pelted towards the riot police that were brought in here since very early this morning. But this doesn't seem to be any abetting at this stage to the situation. You can see there towards my left as well, some of the police officers in charge of the riot police that were brought in here, caucusing as well. I guess what they're hoping to get at this stage, or the way forward for them, would be once students decide what they will do then, once the student leaders have met with those representatives. The media is not allowed into that meeting. That has been the status quo at this stage from student leaders since the beginning. Every time they meet with the students to decide on a way forward, that meeting is held separately, and once they've decided on that, they then return to the media and give them some kind of feedback on how they plan to proceed with this action. But students are adamant that if no one in authority, either we're talking about the Higher Education Minister Blade Nzimande or even the university, on what stance it will take following that announcement by the minister on them deciding how to hike the academic fees for 2017, and exactly what that hike means for the students at this university, that certainly remains to be seen. But they're promising and they're adamant that if that authority does not speak to them today, the scenes that we saw here at Wits University today will continue throughout the week. So we're certainly waiting for that kind of information at this stage from the student representatives. But the situation slightly calmer, much calmer at this point, as those student leaders meet with the students as well. And, many injured as well. I've spoken to some journalists who have some bruises on their arms and on their legs. One of the camera people from one of the other media houses has also been bleeding from his left foot, and really showing the heightening tensions here at Wits University. So I think what remains to be seen at this point is how the student leaders themselves will decide on a way forward, and how they plan to perhaps get those in power, as they would say, listen to their demands. Just to recap, we've been saying it throughout the entire day, but what these students are saying is that they want an absolute zero increase for the fees, and the announcement that was made by the Higher Education Minister Blade Nzimande yesterday was inadequate. They're saying that some of the recommendations that he put forward, in particular for poor students, that needs to be across the board for many of the other students who complain about not accessing higher education and training due to financial constraints. So at the bone of contention in this particular issue certainly is that. Let me just walk a little bit with Zama just to show you a little bit more of what's taking place here. We won't really go much inside to Solomon Mahlangu House, but we're just going to walk through these doors at the moment. The absolute trail of destruction that we can see here, the tensions boiling over between the police there and the students. The stones as well, you can see stretch as far as inside Solomon Mahlangu House, where this all-crucial meeting is taking place between student leaders and the students here from Wits University. And classes since this morning, lectures have absolutely come to a halt, not just at this campus, but at the education campus as well as the medical campus. It's certainly the threat that these students had made much earlier on this morning. They'd gathered here as early as 5 o'clock in the morning, and already then we had seen tensions flare when police arrested several students. The understanding now is the official number that we received from the police a bit earlier on was that 31 students had been detained and taken to the Hillbrow police station. Now, we understand that legal representation has been sent to the police station, and they're working on the paperwork to ensure that those students are released. Whether that will quell the tensions between the students, of course, and the police as well, that certainly remains to be seen at this point. But we'll certainly bring you more. I think crucially at this point, what will come out of that meeting with the student leaders and the students themselves on what the way forward will be. Do they continue with the protest at this stage? But it certainly seems that that will be the case. Back to you in studio.
Thank you very much. Griselda Lewis, live from Solomon Mahlangu House, where we've seen scenes of chaos and destruction. But as she says, we'll wait to see what will come out of that meeting that the students are now holding. The media is not allowed